inevitable? All this stuff coming to us, was it bound to happen? I'm talking about the war. This is not a statement. It is a question. It is something that we have to take into account given where we're at right now and the whole meaning and context of what we face and how it has to be dealt with. And I'm going to start this by reading a statement, a letter from a Moroccan Arab that's it's something to ponder, something that puts it in perspective for what we're facing for the things going on today. And it really begs a lot of big questions. I don't have the answers. This is a question. So, but here is what he wrote. He wrote, "For days now, I have been watching a strange narrative spreading across Western media and social networks that claim that the confrontation with the Iranian regime is somehow Israel's war and that the United States was dragged into it. As a Moroccan Muslim and an Arab who has spent years studying the politics of our region, I can say clearly, this argument is not only false, it's intellectually dishonest." Now, this is his opinion. Take it for what you will. I'm just putting this out here to ponder. He goes on. "Let us start with a simple fact. The Islamic Republic of Iran has not spent the last 4 decades declaring war only on Israel. Its leaders only speak of fighting the great Satan, the United States, and the little Satan, Israel. For 47 years, their ideology has been built around exporting revolution, destabilizing the Middle East, and spread militant networks across the region." Now, that is all true. Whatever you want to take it, I'm going to pull up the chat room over here on this computer. All right, so he said, "This is not an Israeli fantasy. It's Iran's own declared doctrine." He said, "Iran finances militias, trains terrorist organizations, and builds missiles and nuclear capabilities while threatening not only Israel, but also Arab countries, American forces, and global stability. From Lebanon to Iraq, from Yemen to Syria, the fingerprints of Tehran are everywhere." So when the United States acts out against that regime, it is not acting on behalf of Israel. It is acting to defend its own strategic interest and stability of the international system. Again, if you're just joining me, I am reading a letter from a Moroccan Arab, and this is what he said about it. Now, I'm posing the question, was this inevitable? So let's go on. "The idea that Washington needs to be manipulated by Jerusalem into recognizing this threat is absurd. Every American administration of the 21st century, Republican or Democrat, has stated clearly that preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon is a fundamental national security priority. The debate in Washington has never been about whether Iran is dangerous. The debate has only been about how to stop it. Some believe diplomacy and concessions would change the behavior of the clerical regime. Others believe that a regime driven by revolutionary ideology and apocalyptic theology will never voluntarily abandon its ambitions." You got to remember, they believe that in this 12th Iman thing, which is basically they got to bring about an apocalyptic scenario for their prophecies to come true. So that's the hardcore inner believers. And now from recently deceased prior President Iran, Ahmadinejad, I used to call him Ahmadinejad, he was definitely a subscriber to that, along with the Mulls and the Ayatollahs and so forth. Anyway, I go on with his reading of this. Okay, what he wrote. Again, I'm not saying this. This was written by a Moroccan Jew, a Moroccan Arab Muslim, if you are just now joining. "But pretending that the Iranian threat exists only in Israel's imagination is a dangerous illusion. there is also another uncomfortable truth. Iran today is not an isolated regional actor. It is deeply connected to the broader geopolitical challenge facing the West. Tehran has become a strategic partner of Russia and an economic partner of China. Chinese purchases of Iranian oil have kept the regime alive despite international sanctions, while Iranian drones have played a central role in Russia's war in Ukraine. And I might add to that buying the cheap sanctioned oil from Iran has really been part of the foundation of China's manufacturing economy, giving them the edge to keep prices cheap. Now return to the write-ins of this Moroccan Arab Muslim. He said, this is not a local Israeli issue. It is part of a global strategic confrontation. Those who repeat the slogan, "This is Israel's war," are ignoring the obvious. A nuclear-armed Iran would not threaten only Tel Aviv. It would also threaten the entire Middle East, including Arab countries, and it would destabilize global security for decades. And yet, instead of confronting this reality, many prefer to blame Israel. They claim that the Jewish state somehow controls the American policy, pushes Washington into wars, or manipulates global politics behind the scenes. Yeah, I do think there's some of that. A fair bit, actually. But I digress. Let me get back to his write-ins. He says, these accusations are not serious geopolitical analysis. They are recycled conspiracy theories that have circulated for generations. And maybe a bit of both. I have run the halls of Congress, though, and I'll tell you what, they were also running the halls of Congress in large numbers. That said, criticizing governments is legitimate. Debating military decisions is legitimate. But reducing complex strategic decisions to the idea that Israel controls America is not criticism, it's propaganda. Israel does not need to invent the Iranian threat. Iranian leaders themselves have repeatedly called for the destruction of the Jewish state. They openly describe Israel as a country that could be erased with a single nuclear weapon. And take two, probably. I've always said it'd have to hit both Haifa and Tel Aviv. Two. But I digress again. Let me return to the writings of this individual. Pardon me. No responsible nation would ignore such threats. Standing against the Iranian regime is not about serving Israel. It is about pretending a radical theocracy it's about preventing a radical theocracy from acquiring the most dangerous weapons on earth and using them to reshape the Middle East through intimidation, violence, and nuclear blackmail. If that threat disappears, Israel will be safer, but so will Arab nations, Europe, and the United States. Recognizing that reality does not require being Jewish or Israeli. Sometimes it simply requires being honest. And he closed. He said, and as an Arab Muslim who believes in stability, sovereignty, and the future of our region, I refuse to repeat the narratives that protect the most dangerous regime in the Middle East while blaming the only democracy in the region for defending itself. Now, he's got a lot of points in there, and these are points that I think are worthy to be considered because, guys, it's like, Colonel Cole, I don't know if he's in the house tonight. He's told us that, when he was in Iraq, he lost a lot of his guys. A lot of his guys got injured and lost their lives directly from the IEDs that Soleimani, who Trump took out earlier, devised and provided into the field of battle. He saw people. He saw this with his own eyes happen. He saw people, and he is kind of, this has him pretty hard bitten over this. So Anybody that's seen that and has, knows veterans that have been in that situation would definitely probably agree with this. My son was in the last Gulf War, and he was with a Patriot missile battle, but like most Patriot battles, which are in the rears defending, his went all the way to Syria. They were at the tip of the conflict. They were right with the front units, the tip of the spear. They went boom right through. So he was there. So my friends, there is a lot of things to be considered here. I mean, if you think about it and go back, this whole thing between Iran and Israel has deep roots. Iran and United States has deep roots. It was the United States that basically overthrew a previous president in Iran, the CIA, because that president was siding with Russia, the Soviet Union, and put in the Shah into power. And of course, the Shah, when he needed medical treatment, went to the United States, and that was the opening that permitted the Ayatollahs and so forth to go in and take over Iran. And what did they do? They seized the U.S. Embassy and took Americans hostage, an act that caused Jimmy Carter to fumble and put forces in Iran that weren't ready to go, and they had a big fiasco in the desert. And I thought I was going to be part of that because I was in the Army at the time at Fort Bragg, sporting 82nd Airborne, and we had everything packed and ready to go. And I was told I was going, just point blank, you're going. And then it all changed in the last minute. So, I've got a piece of this, and later, my main study buddy in college was an Iranian who was a kid in Tehran at the time that I was, almost sent over there. Who had been a teenager in those days. So I find that very interesting. But this is not supposed to have been a war against the people of Iran. It's supposed to have been a war against the Ayatollah theocratic regime, which is being held in place by the IRGC. Now, the problem with all that is, there's just this big history. You got to realize that Iran has attacked American soldiers. They blew up the embassy in Beirut back in the Reagan administration. A lot of American blood's been shed by Iranian forces. They've had their proxies real thick in the Mideast, and their proxies, through especially Hezbollah, went into Venezuela and went throughout South America. But they went in through Venezuela. They were strongest in Venezuela. And some of them were coming across our border when it was wide open, thanks to the previous POTUS, President Taylor has, I like to refer to him, previous POTUS. But anyway, so I digress there a little bit. But, there are elements to this. There's also, you got to consider that they had, you don't enrich uranium to 60% for peaceful purposes. There's no way that's legitimate. That is definitely a weapons program. And furthermore, they launched satellites. Yes, Iran launched a satellite. And you can put a nuke on a satellite when it goes over the United States, detonate it, and EMP could bring us to our knees and wipe out our country. We're that vulnerable. Seriously. I've covered that in videos years ago. Go back and watch my power grid defense videos, EMP videos. Definitely, it would have done enormous damage to us. Plus, they were developing intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach the United States and claimed they had enough uranium already to build 11 nuclear bombs. Now, people have asked me where I stood on this war. I said, I don't like war. But if a war is inevitable, then you need to fight it on your terms and not theirs. And there comes the crux of the whole thing. Should we win in? I don't know. It certainly would be inevitable if we make it so. Well, now, that could be. That could be. And this whole construct may have been set up a long time ago. There's those that follow certain letters. You got to ask, is it Pike's War? I think there's flaws in that letter as it came to us, but that don't mean that reality didn't rhyme with the content of the letter. So, there's some really strange things that's been going down. So, not to mention, Israel was the Balfour Agreement's what set Israel in motion, and who were the authors of the Balfour Agreement. Just go back and look at the history up on that. So, and that family brags about it to this day. And look at the name on the road around the Knesset, in Israel. that tells you everything there is to know if you research it in that regard. All right, enough of that stuff. So that's water under the bridge. Whether you think we should get in this war or not is irrelevant now. We're in it. So now that we broke the egg, what do? I'm going to do a video probably tomorrow talking about the end games, what this looks like. I'm not going to cover that tonight. Tonight we're just looking at, was this inevitable? Was there a way around it? Was it a case that Iran would have forced us into it eventually, whether we wanted to or not? That's a big question. And I pose it as a question, not an answer. So just something to think about. But if now here comes the if that is the reality, that we were going to face them sooner or later, and a lot of people believe that's true. A lot of people believe that's true. If we were going to face them sooner or later, then, like I said, if you got to fight somebody, fight them on your own terms. We've been negotiating with them forever. It kind of brings to mind to me that little line from The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. If you got to shoot, don't talk, shoot. When you got to shoot, don't talk, shoot. You remember that line. We've been doing a lot of talking for a long time. And the whole time, Iran just keeps enriching, keeps building missiles. Well, here's the thing. They were building missiles hand over fist. They were building drones hand over fist. There was, if we'd have went in later, that would have been a lot harder when they'd had a lot more of these. Had, they already acquired nukes, they probably wouldn't have done anything. We tend to take out regimes that don't have nukes, but once they get them, we tend to leave them alone, like little Kim over North Korea. Now, I can't say that would perpetually be the truth, that we would always leave them alone. Yeah, we're having some huge economic impacts, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We got the Popper report in the house. Steve, how are you doing, buddy? Long time no see. How are you doing? Are you in the Philippines right now? Good to see you. So I think this whole thing probably was inevitable, quite frankly, but I don't know that I can't say that for a fact. I wasn't a fan of going in to start with. Bear that in mind. I was not a fan of going in. But if it was inevitable, this was the point in time, which was the intersection of a lot of things. One, Iran was weak because of the 12-day war. Weakest they'd been. They were building their munitions real fast. They had their nukes, and China just sent over 16 plane loads of advanced, surface-to-air missiles, advanced radars, their detection systems. All this stuff was supposed to, stop their aircraft. Didn't do any good, did it? But they were also sending in their carrier killer missiles. We couldn't have waited any longer if we were going to do this. I'm not saying doing it was the right thing. Not at all. Now, you watch Steve Poplar's channel, guys. He has got a great channel. He's one of my favorites. I watch him every day. And he definitely lays out a lot of stuff, especially the economic impacts of this stuff. He is an economist, an accountant by trade, excuse me. So he's really good at laying out those economic aspects of it. And he's projecting that the stock markets may have big problems tomorrow because the price of oil has been shooting up. I'll show you. It looks like it came down a little bit in the oil futures. I'm going to show you that, but it's been real jittery. And some of the futures on the stock market, some of the markets in East Asia have been crashing. And we've already been paying for this at the pump. I've been paying for it at the pump. I bought my last gas at the Apache Reservation, which is a lot cheaper than everywhere else, and it was still higher. So, yeah, it's going up. And that will. Small wars make big wars. Yes, you should see my last video. I talk about this fault line that's running throughout the entire Middle East and how the Kurds may play into this and how that can get real complex real fast with nations like Turkey and so forth, how this can escalate a lot regionally and globally. And part of this is also a global chessboard dealing with China more than anything. Russia, to some degree, but probably more on China's side, because the Chinese economy has been using the cheap oil that they've been buying, the embargoed oil, which they can buy at a cheaper price, as an underpinning for their ability to manufacture cheap goods. Now, they just lost that, essentially, because they were getting Venezuela and Iran, and somehow we went checkmate. We basically lined everything up on the chessboard, and we're almost at a checkmate point on that. So the margins for China are getting really thin for how they can operate. And this is all incurred, coincidentally, before Trump goes to meet with Xi Jinping next month. Now, there's some saying the Chinese may cancel or postpone that meeting as a protest against this war. And I'm not sure, given that we've shown the willingness to take out heads of states, that it would be good for our head of state to go to a country that might be adversarial to us. So it might not be a good thing for Trump to go there. I don't know what y'all think about that. I agree with you. You fight on your terms and you win. Exactly. That's my point. If you got to fight, do it on your own terms. And that is based on what I'm saying here. I'm not saying we had to, but with Iran developing nuclear weapons, with Iran being able to launch satellites, with Iran calling the United States the Great Satan. They didn't call Israel the Great Satan, they called it Little Satan. Because there's been history with Iran. And history, the Shahs, the reason the Mulls hated the Shahs had a secular state, basically, and they hated that. And they blame the United States for that. And so they consider us the Great Satan. There may be more to it than that. Like I said, it probably goes back to the CIA op that overthrew the previous president. So, but I don't think the Mullahs would have liked him either, quite frankly. But whatever. When somebody wants to attain power, especially autocratic power, they find it easy to marshal their people against somebody else. Everything's their fault. That's the quickest road to power, especially if you're a fascist nation, basically. And that's what really Iran is. They're a theocratic, fascistic nation. The problem with the whole thing is that the IRGC has basically got a distributed command structure. They're embedded everywhere in Iran. They're kind of like ticks on a feral hound dog. They're in thick, like a tick, like ticks on a feral hound dog. So, in a minute, toward the end of this video, I'm going to show I got the solution to this whole thing. I got the solution. I got the grand solution. Fix everything. But anyway, I'll show you all that at the end here. So, essentially, guys, this may have been inevitable, and given the potential inevitability of it, this was probably the best timing to do it if it had to be done. This would have been the best timing because Iran was only going to get stronger. They were about to get those carrier killers from, they were just on the verge of getting them. Maybe they got a few already. They just didn't have time to fill them before we started whacking them. And that's what some suggestions say, that they were on the last planes that landed. I don't know. Now, China denied it. Oh, wait, they weren't going to send them those. Of course, China would deny that. Of course they would. So there's a lot at play here. This is a global chessboard. And definitely Russia and China figure into the bigger geopolitics of what's going down here. If you think they don't, you're probably not paying attention because why else were they propping Iran up in the first place? See, China also, we've always talked a lot about, one way to take the wind out of Chinese sails for this whole thing of attacking Taiwan would be to cut off the Malacca Strait. That's where all this oil goes through on the way to China. It's a very narrow strait. It's a strategic chokehold that we could potentially take out. But China was busy building a rail line from Iran to take a lot of the oil from Iran into China. So they had a back door they were trying to open up for this. So this is something to think about. So that's going to get a kibosh on it right now. Now, the unfortunate thing in Iran at the moment, in Tehran, the Israelis decided to strike the oil facilities there. And the whole country is, the whole city of Tehran is covered in this huge, thick, black cloud. I mean, in the daytime, it's like night there. And it's raining petroleum. And that petroleum has been spilling out, running into the sewers and catching on fire. The streets are on fire. Guys, this looks something like out of Dante's Inferno, like straight out of hell, pardon my language. You can remind you that's a Nordic god's name. It wasn't considered a cuss word once upon a time. It was a proper name. But anyway, I digress. So this is and why should a place of punishment, purgatory, be considered a cuss word? It is if you use it that way. It's not the way I'm using it. I'm using it as a descriptive of a very rough place. The people in Tehran are suffering. That's terrible for their health. But America was not happy with it. The Trump administration really complained to Israel about striking those oil facilities because that hurts the people. And the Trump administration weren't after the people because we're trying to get the people to rise up themselves and overthrow the regime there. And furthermore, Trump don't want to see oil prices go up and stay up. They have a plan, and supposedly the Pentagon is planning to do something to open the Strait of Hormuz up. To do that, they're really going to have to hammer everything close to the strait that can launch drones and missiles. And then knowing they haven't got the stuff inland that can still launch drones and missiles and stuff coming through the strait, they would provide naval escorts that could shoot down and intercept whatever's coming, because then they'd be coming on a longer trajectory. You can monitor them longer. But if they're coming from right on the shore, the notification time is too short to have adequate response to take those aircraft and drones, the various missiles out. So what they got to do is they got to push that stuff further back. The good news is that the launch rate of missiles, they're still launching missiles. They're still launching all over the Mideast. They're still launching in Israel, but they are launching less of them because their launchers are getting taken out. And they've already used probably 1,000 missiles so far. They had about 2,500 when they started this campaign, but it's not, they may not be able to launch all of them just because a lot of the launchers have been taken out. So you got a missile and launcher proximity. Now maybe they can move launchers to where the other missiles are, move things around. They got a lot of underground tunnels. How extensive and connected is that tunnel network? There's a lot that, we as civilians don't know about this. A lot of people claim they know X, Y, and Z, but a lot of it is just hooey. A lot is based on propaganda that Iran put out themselves in a lot of their videos they put out. So there's something to it, but just how extensive, we don't know. I would imagine our military knows because they probably got intel people that were in those tunnels, because everybody in Iran don't support the regime, as we quite well know. That's why, we got such good intel on where all their people were, and we're able to take them out in the first strike. Now, a lot of people says, well, we should have notified Congress. We should have notified Congress. Well, if it had notified Congress, you wouldn't have taken out the Ayatollah and over 40 of his top henchmen, including the members of parliament, his inner circle. That would have never happened. So, because somebody in Congress would have went, hey, psst, psst, guarantee it. Somebody in Congress would have gave that off. Now, the War Powers Act gives the president about 60-day window to do things before he's got to take it to Congress, really, for total approval. Well, there's a lot of debate about that, the legalities and whatever, those kind of things. So I'm just putting it out. I'm just stating the facts here, guys. The facts are that Iran called us the Great Satan. They were developing nukes. They had satellites which could have carried a nuke, which EMP'd us, and they had basically intercontinental ballistic missiles. According to some sources, already designed, fielded. I don't know if that's a fact, but we do know they could hit Europe with missiles they had. If they didn't have an intercontinental missile to hit the United States, we're probably on the verge of it. I think that's more likely. But if you can launch satellites, a rocket can launch a satellite is basically an intercontinental ballistic missile. Pretty darn close. So it probably just came down to point. But if you're doing an EMP strike, you do not need the point. You did not need re-entry vehicles. You did not need target acquisition accuracy. So that's something you got to bear in mind. All you got to do is just have to go overhead. Beep, 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 boom. Beep, 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 boom. And that's something a lot of analysts miss, because back when North Korea, before they got all their stuff as well honed in as they got it now, but it's probably not as good as Iran has. Iran has shown accuracy with their missiles, at least in the theater range, and they've shown a lot of accuracy. And that's another thing. Iran's now claiming that, hey, we weren't attacking our Arab neighbors. We were trying to hit the U.S. bases, and just sometimes they missed, but mostly because they were intercepted, and that caused them to deflect. Well, interestingly, those deflections must have been perfect deflections, because in each case they were hitting the key economic points of interest in each of the Arab countries around the Gulf. For example, oil refining facilities in Saudi Arabia and Dubai. It was hotels they went after. Of course, the big thing in Dubai, it was the hotels. They went to airports in Kuwait. They went after the key economic attributes of each of the countries they were hitting. So it's interesting how that could just accidentally happen because something got hit by an interceptor. Yeah, now we're not developing nukes. No. Yeah. We're enriching uranium to 60% for purely peaceful purposes. I got to tell you something. That's hogwash. That's hogwash. Now, whatever we're going to do with it, I don't know. See, the thing is, when it comes to a theocratic nation like that, you cannot judge them by Western values. They're zealots. You can't say, well, like I like to say, well, why would they nuke us? And I've asked that question. Why would they nuke us? Especially if we pulled out of the Mideast, I mean, all they'd be after is Israel. So why would they nuke us? Why would they attack us? Why would they attack us when they know Israel's got, they might have a dozen nukes, but, eventually, but then Israel's got 200 some odd. So why would they do it? Well, if you don't think rationally, you can't ascribe rational thinking to them. You know what I mean? If they believe that they got to, according to their 12th Imam theory, they have to wipe out, this is what's been claimed, they got to wipe out Israel, the 12th Imam to come crawling out of his hole in the ground and put the world in under a Shia caliphate, the entire world. So to them, that's paradise on earth. And theoretically to them, that's worth it. That's worth everything to do that. Whatever they need to wipe it out their own country, even. So I don't know, my friends. So it just comes back to, was it inevitable? Did we have to do it? If you're just joining, I read a letter from a Moroccan Muslim Arab who's basically saying this. And he said, no, this is not Israel's war. There's been a few other people say, if you ever seen Magic Prepper, he came out and said, no, it's not Israel's war. So a lot of people think that. Now, I do think that Israel played a hand in how it went down. Israel was playing in several hands because, for example, Trump was willing to negotiate just on the nuclear program. But Bibi Netanyahu ran to Washington, D.C. and implored upon him to add the proxy network and the missiles to that negotiation, something that we all knew Iran wasn't going to agree to. I said that early on here. Iran was never going to agree to that, and they knew that. So that kind of set the war stage from the get-go. So I don't know, guys. Anonymous mouse person, it's been like a week and oil is up $45. Well, yeah, that's what happens. Now, it might be that in a couple of weeks, they'll get the Strait of Hormuz free enough for the oil to transit. The United States has offered insurance. A lot of these companies won't insure the tankers, like the Lloyd's of London, British. The British haven't been all that well helpful to us lately because the Brits really are a big favor of globalism. And maybe we're smashing the globalist plans here. Now, that's a possibility. Now, maybe the idea was to have a war all along. I mean, I used to ask, why was it that Obama sent pallet loads of cash to Iran? Biden, he freed up a lot of Iranian-held assets and banks that had been embargoed. I mean, billions of dollars worth. So in a sense, we kind of financed them. Was it just to give them ability to build all their stuff? Well, it did that. It did that. And I used to draw an analogy. When I was a kid, I used to like to fight wasps, but I didn't want to fight some little bitty wasp nest. I'd let them grow all summer long. Till the end of the summer, I used to just agitate them because I wanted them to be mean and mad. I'd walk by and throw rocks and sand at them all summer long. Just keep them good and agitated. And then toward the end of the summer, I would go after them and wipe them out. That was how, when I was a kid. Kids are crazy. That was crazy. But, that's maybe the whole idea, especially if you think of it as a pike war. Maybe you need Iran to be a big, bad enemy just to pull all this stuff down. Maybe one you can't really deal with, especially if you want to do America in. So maybe these things had to happen, and Trump came to the conclusion that it had to be now because the geopolitical timing with the aspects of China, Russia, and furthermore, where Iran was at specifically, and that they just got weakened by 12-day war. They had to protest there. But here's the other thing. The IRGC being as thick as ticks on a feral hound dog, I'm not sure you can take them out with missiles. That and bombing. I don't think you can. We've never taken over a country or really totally changed the regime in that manner. So I think some other things may happen. I was really hoping it would be the Kurds that would go in and do that job for us. But for some reason, Trump asked the Kurds not to enter the war. Now, I just talked about that in my previous video, talking about the geopolitical fault line and how it relates to Turkey. But I'm really hoping the Kurds go in, to be frank about it. Because the Kurds, they need to be an independent country. They don't need to be divided up and ruled with a heavy hand from every other country around them. But Turkey would not go for that. And Turkey is a very powerful country with respect to military, extremely powerful. They got a big military. So it all remains to be seen how this will play out. But I am going to do a video on the end game of this. I am going to cover it from how this can play out. That's probably going to be my next video. So I'm going to go through and share a few things with you guys. Let's see. Klaus Schwab, the Great Reset. Yeah. And that may be where they were trying to drive us, because they said America would basically be a little 2-bit power. And that's the way they wanted it, because they don't like freedom. Here in America, we stand for rugged individualism. We stand for freedom. And the globalists hate that. They want to do us in. And the people on the left, they hate that. That's why they wanted wide open borders. They wanted to change our identity, our national identity, who we are as a country, who we are as a people. Now, I say, hey, I'm for immigration, but when you come in this country, you come in here to be an American. And that's how it was for a long time. It was considered a melting pot. Then that melting pot idea went away, and we decided we'd be a pluralistic society. Well, that's not been working out too well. It's just caused a lot of internal division. So we need to go back to the melting pot idea. And if you want to immigrate to America, you understand what we stand for, and that's freedom. We stand for personal responsibility. We stand for capitalism. That's how we've been for a long time. A lot of people in this country right here want to change that right now. And this was a policy. A lot of the NGOs from way back is a policy you would have found in the UN papers and the write-ins of a lot of people who contributed to the development of that agenda, a couple of agendas, one of them in 21, the other in the 2030. If you go back and read the personal writings that some of those people wrote that they didn't include in the agenda, they basically revealed who they were and where they wanted to go with this. So I've outlined this stuff to you before. So the thing is, as you go in and you look, if you go to the House of Klaus, which was mentioned in here by one of y'all, Klaus Schwab, as I like to call him, you look at what he was setting up, how it was running. When you look at go to their website and see who their partners are, who's supporting them, it's the big companies. Oh, yeah. And if you go back to Milton Friedman and his book, Free to Choose, I read it back in early 1981 before I went to Fort Greely, Alaska. Very good book. I don't agree with everything he said, because what he didn't factor into the free trade aspect was a country like China using that to build their military to take us back. And in fact, you can't outsource all your manufacturing if you want to be able to defend yourself. You just can't do it. So that was a couple of things he was looking at just from a pure economic standpoint, not from a geopolitical standpoint. I'm taking it from the point of geopolitics. What's important to maintain your sovereignty, your freedom. So you can't outsource everything and remain a sovereign. You become a slave. When you outsource everything you have, you become a slave eventually. And we were heading down that road in a handbasket. So, all right, that said, we got a lot of tough times coming at us. Our way out of this is not easy. Humpty Dumpty's fell off the wall, and how we're going to put them back together again. You're not. It's going to be something different. So, and it's like no combat, no combat plan survives first contact with an enemy. So how all this plays out remains to be seen. Everybody gets surprises when you engage in combat, engage in a battle. Now, it's gone mostly to our side because we do have air dominance over Iran. We got that really fast. So, but like I said, the IRGC is infest Iran like ticks on a feral hound dog. And you heard that first from me. You can use that phrase. Just, hey, tell people to go check out Greengrass. And like I said, hey, I got the ultimate solution to all this. Let me show you that in a little bit. But first, let's think about this. When you're buying these big companies, when you go in and put your money in them, you were voting for the House of Klaus. Hey, go to their website. It tells you that. and you're getting poisonous products. Steve Popper will tell you about that too. The stuff you're getting is terrible. So let me show you some stuff here real quick. Ding, 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 ding. All right, well, I got to change this. I got to change it. Ding, 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 ding. All right, hang on, guys. Bear with me. I'm going to do some screen shares, but I'm going to alternate my screen shares. So it's going to take me a minute. Here we go. There we are. Here we are. These 12 companies together own 550 consumer brands. 550 controlled by just 12 companies. These 12 companies control all these other things that you thought were independent companies. No, they're owned in whole by these 12 companies. And let me tell you, my friends, the products you're getting from them have all kind of contaminants in them. And I've covered that in several videos recently, and a lot of you guys hadn't watched them. I highly encourage you to go back and see those videos because we are getting stuff that's just not good for us. And they don't care because they know it's cheaper to settle lawsuits than it is to give you good, wholesome products. And that's a fact. And the sad thing is, these companies have controlling interest from these companies. And who runs BlackRock? Who founded and runs BlackRock? Larry Fink. And he's now assumed control over the House of Klaus. My gosh. So when you buy from these guys and those, you're supporting this and the House of Klaus. Like I said, go to their website, the WWIII website. It's there. Go to the partners section. I've strolled through that in the past. So guys, I got a solution. It took me a few months to work this up. This is my website. I set it up just so that you can have a way to switch away from that, to opt out of buying their junk as much as possible. So what we got here is an American-owned, family-owned company, not a big global conglomerate. It's a family-owned company right here in the good old U.S. of A. that provides you plant-based materials. All of the cleaning supplies and all the consumer products are tested vigorously to make sure there's nothing in there that's going to harm you. They keep the chemicals out. It's plant-based. And you get to support American jobs because it's all made right here in the good old U.S. of A. No advertising. Prices comparable with anything else that you buy that's organic or good to help wholesome products. So, so this tells you about consumer goods, illusion of choice. All this stuff is here on this website. This is my website. And so when you come in here and fill out this form and hit the submit button, this goes directly to me, and I share it with one good friend who's a member of our community, Lisa. She'll get back with you because I'm stocked for time. I got to have some help. She will tell you all about it. So this is a good program. I use it myself, and I've got friends that use it, and I'm happy with it. So just consider that. You submit to this, and it goes to switchwithgreg.com. Like I said, it's my website. Your information does not go past me and Lisa. We'll go nowhere else. So they'll hit a couple of news items here. Iran apparently said that, ships for China could go through and Russia could go through the strait, but apparently that's not happening. So we'll see how that pans out. But, hey, Iran's got all their stuff attacked. So this is another article. It's not the letter I read to you earlier, but there's another article basically saying the same thing, except this also chapping on the Democrats. It said they desperately want us to lose this war, and maybe it's true. I always thought that was one of the most hideous-looking symbols I've ever seen. This symbol, they took the lion, the Persian lion, out of the Iranian flag and added this thing. And it got these, it's supposed to be something with four crescents and a sword, but to me it looks like a hideous long-necked bat. A hideous long-necked bat. That's what it looks like to me. I just think that's one of the most hideous-looking things I've ever seen in my life. So, I think the lion with the sword and sun rising over his back was a whole lot better looking than this. That was the Persian symbol that the theocratic regime took off the Iranian flag and they put this on it. But anyway, this goes into a lot of the same kind of things that I was saying earlier. But it's also when they chanted "Death to America," it wasn't a slogan. The regime that had ruled Iran since 1979 and today's Democratic Party have much in common. They both want to. Anyway, you may or may not agree with this, but it's just this is what this writer put in. He just throwing the Democrats in the same bucket as the theocrats over in Iran. Whether you agree with that or not, whatever. here's the thing to take away with is that Iran did call us the Great Satan, and they were developing nukes. So whatever you want to, the wall, the fence, and the border story is also Ragnarok. Loki turning himself into a female mare to fool the strong horse. Yeah, that's some interesting stuff there. So you want to call it Armageddon or Ragnarok? It may be around the corner here. So now here's something you need to think about. You need to take this serious. This is a news rag. I publish. They're usually anti-Trump, but usually, sometimes they're not, but usually. But now this article here: top Trump officials rush to purchase nuclear war-proof bunkers after Iran attack. Now this comes from the guy who runs Atlas, so you can take this to the bank. This is pretty accurate. The guy who runs the big bunker company, Ron Hubbard of Atlas. Now, he's got his own YouTube channel. He's been on Nate's YouTube channel a lot. Maybe I need to interview him because he builds the big, heavy-duty bunkers for the uber rich people, and they cost a few $100,000 probably. Very well designed. I mean, he does good stuff. But he said that he just had two of the top Trump administration people rushed him after this war started to get them some bunkers real fast. So if the Trump administration people are prepping and building bunkers and giving all the top data tech CEOs around the country building their own bunkers, I mean, from Bill Gates to what's his name over at Meta? Looks like a monkey. I'm having a hard time thinking of his name right now. We got Peter Thiel. All these guys are building bunkers. All of them are. They're building bunkers everywhere. So Zuckerberg, that's what I was thinking. All I could say, guy looks like a monkey. Zuckerberg. Anyway, he looks kind of like a monkey to me. Like the one on that dog goes. I always thought he looked like that. Well, he's let his hair grow a bit longer. He maybe don't look as much like that. But anyway, it's been something it's always struck me as funny. Anyway, I'm going to go through the chat room in just a second, folks. So just something to think about. Guys, take your prepping serious. I just did a video for my garden. I'm going to also put that up in the next day or two. But I think maybe in my next video, if I can pull it off tomorrow, will be to talk about the end game of this whole situation. I'll save that for a special topic because it's already 1 in the morning. I got to get up early. I'm supposed to be up in 6 hours. And it'll be if I stop the video right now, it'll be another hour before I go to bed. It'll be over an hour before I go to bed after I stop the video, whatever time it is. So I'm eating into my sleep time. Anyway, so inside the Iranian regime's sick plots to basically, they had several plots. They hired several teams to take out our current POTUS, DJT. So this is what this article is talking about. And the FBI has reported on that. There's Tehran on fire behind their gate there. So in Tehran. So my friends, yeah. And we got some stuff going on here in the United States, US of A. Have y'all heard about the Kansas airport? Uh-oh, this thing's not posted. I got to stop the share and start over. Hello. This thing's hung up on me. Oh, there it went. Let's go back and share now. Kansas International Airport evacuated as FBI rushes to the terminal. They had like multiple bomb threats. I've heard of maybe 45. Oh, thank you, Zuckerberg. It came to me later. Zuckerberg's got extensive bunkers. Billy Gates has extensive bunkers. Peter Thiel, all his guys have extensive bunkers, every one of them. So when the billionaires all have big bunkers, maybe they know something. When the heads of the Trump administration that don't already have bunkers go to build bunkers, maybe they know something. That's why I tell you guys to prep. Now we talked about sleeper cells and lone wolf activity here. Well, there's a little bit of something going on. We had that lone wolf taking pot shots in Austin recently, and now we've got this Kansas City International Airport bomb threats called in. We've got these IED devices that were thrown at this protest near the Gracie Mansion and near the house of actually Madonna, the mayor of New York. How come this don't want to scroll? It's hung up on me. If I got stuck again, yeah, hang on. Stop the share and reshare. That's what happens to me for some reason on here. things hang up, and I have to stop the share and reshare to get it to move. And we went back there again. How come it went back to that? Okay. There's one of the IEDs, and I'll find the names down here, the two guys they arrested. Emir Ballat and Ibrahim Kayumi. Yeah, it's not some good old boys out of Texas, right? Well, maybe today, but not. So, this might tell you a little bit about where they came from. These are the guys that were arrested for having those IED devices in New York. They set off to them. And in case you don't know, Amir means prince in Arabic, and Ibrahim is their way of saying Abraham. Just my 2 cents on that, so you'll know. Anywho, let's go on here. So things are starting to cook. Nightmare scenario looms as global markets head for the biggest oil output disruption in history. So this is something that Steve Popper talks about a lot. Oh, he's still with us. He may just popped in to say hi. I'm glad he did. But guys, this nightmare scenario is that we've got oil prices that could go up catastrophically. Some people have said we might see $6 gas at the gas pumps. But California is already there. They may not have any. So, guys, this has got to be taken serious because it's not just oil. There's a lot of chemicals that come out of the Gulf. And one of the most crucial supplies that comes out of the Gulf is sulfur. And that sulfur is used for fertilizer. And fertilizer and a lot of this petroleum stuff goes into everyday products like plastics and a lot of stuff that is manufactured. So a whole lot of the things used from day to day may be suffering. But the worst thing about the sulfur, given that its fertilizer content, is that could reduce fertilizers available globally and impact how much food can be grown globally. And one thing Steve Popper covers a lot on his channel is threats to our food supply. And they're definitely existent right now. Supply chains are definitely vulnerable too. But if we don't get enough fertilizer, we could have a year with a whole lot less food. So let's hope that this Gulf of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz, gets reopened really fast. I'm sure the Trump administration really wants to do that because they don't want a whole lot of blowback come November. They would like to see everything looking successful before the elections are held in November, or they're going to lose big time. So the prices going up and staying up would definitely knock the Republican Party out of office big time. So he's mindful, and that's why you don't want a forever war. The problem is sometimes you don't get what you want. My dad used to say, wish in one hand and take a mess in the other and see which one fills up the fastest. So there's a lot crazy world and chat. Indeed, it's very crazy. Everything is very, very crazy right now because we're in an era of increasing instability. You can't deny that. We're in an era of actually rapidly increasing instability. Now, maybe these actions will bring things back in alignment and it'll calm down. Maybe it's one of those pay me now or pay me later kind of scenarios. Maybe it's like good, bad, and ugly. When you got to shoot, don't talk, shoot. Maybe that's where we're at. So, and we've been doing a lot of talking for a long time in the last 47 years, and it hasn't got us very far along. So it's kind of interesting. 47 years in the regime, Donald Trump's the 47th president. Kind of strange. Coincidences sometimes pile up. But anywho, now here we are. This is those oil facilities burning in Tehran. This giant plume of smoke here. It looks like Armageddon there. Look at this, guys. Don't that look horrible? I would not want to be in Tehran right now. And you got this black cloud over the entire city, and it's raining petroleum. Nasty, nasty. Now, this is 18 hours ago. No, you're not the chosen people. You're not in it. Okay, this time I'm striking Israel, I guess. Yeah, this war is ugly. It's ugly. Anyway, huge blaze erupts in Tehran after the Israeli strikes. Look at this, guys. Say the people can't even sleep there at night because of all the explosions. Now, this is some of the Iranian strikes on Israel back on the 6th, but they're still firing, but they're not hitting as much. So a lot of stuff. Oh, yeah, here's the Iranians going after one of our aircraft. Oops. Well, how do they come up with this stuff? That's a heck of a video there. Anyway, that's their Air Force in action. Oh, well. Well, the power of AI videos today is just unreal. Unreal. And this was 8 hours ago. Truly astonishing. What was once a dream for some has reportedly occurred. Tel Aviv experiencing, now this is strikes on Tel Aviv, supposedly. I don't know, guys. I'd be careful of that show. I might get my buddy Doug over in Common News 77 got a community strike for showing some of these videos. You gotta be careful. Now, let me do a refresh here and see where we're at. This is the spot price of oil. It was at 120. We really was shooting up right around 120, almost 115. There it is, 116. And apparently it's dropped and then bounced up and dropped again and bounced up. It's very volatile. Right now, it's at 102.28. When I opened this up, it was about 104 something. Up, so it's just changed. It's very, very volatile what oil is trading at right now. So, in any event, I'm going to read through the chat room a little bit. But first, I got to tell you, I've been working on a solution. I got the grand solution to this whole mess. And indeed,
I've got a plan.
I've got a plan. I'm going to stop the share, my friends. Da-ding, da-ding, and I'm going to share something else. I'm going to show you my plan. I've got a plan. That came from Jeff Wayne's rock and roll opera, The War of the Worlds, based on H.G. Wells' work. All right, let's see if I can find this to share it. Ding, ding, ding. And here is my grand plan to deal with everything. This will stop the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, and everyone else. This is my great plan. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. This is what I'm developing out here in Arizona. This is what I'm developing right here. The worms return. You know, I promote global worming. Well, we're going to have global conquest. Hey, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being ready for the late night, early morning updates. Thank you for the super chat. Z3 and Holy Mind. Whole mind, how do you say that? So, guys, there it is. There's my plan. Is that cool or is that not cool? I'm going to have to use this as a thumbnail for a worm video. Next time I do a worm video, I think. There we are. My worm army. So I got another picture. And here's another view. When we really get mad, we'll bring out the big bad worms. See there? This will counter all those Chinese robots I was talking about earlier. Remember me doing the Chinese robot videos? All the Chinese robots, all the Chinese super soldiers, they got nothing on me. Spung. Yes, the worm army. Worm army. That's it. Promoting global worming. The worms will conquer the world. This is my plan for global conquest. Yeah, red state red worms. There we are, my friends. So this is these drawings are done for me by a friend, a guy who's been working for me a little bit, helping me out here, get some wood chips and things in my garden because I had a ton of big piles to move. And his name is he's Jeffrey Slotzhauer. Jeff Slotzhauer, excuse me. He come up with those two, and I thought they were hilarious. So I thought I just had to share this with you guys. There's my plan, global warming. So, yeah, I'm going to have to use those in the future. Video is my thumbnail picture. So, and I might even make a video because, you can take a picture like that and turn it into a video. So I'm thinking maybe something along the lines of the Johnny Comes Marching Home theme song that was used as a marching song for the B-52 and Dr. Strangelove. And they kind of have a march beat with it or something. Chinese will see Greg's worm and flee. That's it. That's it. So we got it all covered. Don't worry your pretty little heads at all. I'm returning to worms. Anyway, I thought y'all get a kick out of that. So, I always try to throw something in here. The news is so dour. It is so down right now, and there's a lot of things to be concerned about. But I like to throw in something more funny every now and then. I like to throw a funny one in with most of the videos I do. I try to. And there we are. That's the funny stuff. That's the funny stuff. So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to go straight into the chat room, look at what you guys have been saying. Then we're going to do our egg guess, and we'll be done for the night. It's already late. We've been on already 61 minutes. I got a late start tonight. I've been planning to try to start these videos earlier. Nanny, Rose Marie, from Australia down under. Very good to see you, Shelley. Good to see you back. Morning to you. Davis, 0884. Cornelius. All right, Cornelius. How you doing? South Carolina. Andy Sings, good to see you back in 12 Bravo 10. Tim Casper. How you say that? Cabutta Gavin. I don't know. Pardon me if I'm murdering your name. Riverway Avenue. Good to see you. All right, the narrative. Benjamin Netanyahu is attempting to summon Jesus. Yeah, I don't think he can summon Jesus. Tell me something. A lot of people do think, well, I don't know on that tonight. So, all humanity against the war burns according to the rules. Says, let's see here. I'm just going to try to scroll through this a lot faster than these don't. It certainly would be inevitable if we make it. So I said that earlier. And maybe we already have. A slave owns his true character, not while he's enslaved, but when he becomes a master. Where did that quote come from? Z3? Everybody is looking for Jesus down here by the river. Someone said they see him walking on the waves. All right, so that must be a song. Hey, the song I like is, let's see. I shall not be moved, just like the tree standing by the water. I shall not be moved. That's a hymn from church. The old one. I like that. Small wars make big wars, right? Doing good, brother. Hey, thank you there, Steve. I love my Greg. Steve, I appreciate that. I hope you're still in the house. I just prefer allies fighting their own regional wars. There you go. I agree with that one, too. I agree with that. Why do we have to be in it? Maybe that's the big question. Why have we got to be in it? Gregory Stevens, it's their fault. Sounds familiar. Okay. Jesse, thank you for calling with the thumbs up. Blame the scapegoat way. Blame is the scapegoat way. There you go. Purim, 40 days of desert temptations. And Jesus had his 40 days of temptation. I don't know, that's part term. Okay. Interesting. I heard they offered not to enrich and we still attack. I hadn't heard. Well, they've kind of made offers before too. So, maybe it was just a plot to, keep things going. They've often done that. I don't know, guys, but I do know that we went in. For better or for worse, we're there now. And that does create some dilemmas. And I'm going to be covering that in my next video. That does create some dilemmas. It's just got to be dealt with. They certainly did shoot themselves in the foot with their holy book. Talking about the 12th Iman stuff. David Barilla says, the people of Iran, we know what you have been through, and Christians are praying for you to receive the blessings of God and be free. There you go. I like that. May 1, 1776, Big Brothers Day. Oh, yeah. You know what organization was founded on the 1st of May, 1776? You don't know, look it up. The IRGC must not ever be in power in Iran. Peace be with us in Jesus' name. Hey, the IRGC needs to go. By 2030, Christianity will be home in China. Well, Christianity is growing rapidly in China, and the CCP don't like it at all. In fact, there's probably more Christians in China than there are here in the United States now. That's the number I've been hearing. So, that's kind of interesting. And it kind of fits with the narrative that the word would spread around the world. And indeed, that's happening. Our president's good at collapsing and bankruptcy. Klaus Schwab, the great reset, LZ3. Well, we'll have to see how this plays out. There's a whole, we're in war, fog of war. So a lot of the things has got to work out. Old Bones talking about the Masonic Theater, greatest show on earth. Got your popcorn ready, huh? Halo from Idaho. Good to see. Hey, Stan the man. Lots of globalists in Israel. That's a fact. We got them here too. And I don't favor globalism. You know that. If you know anything, you know that about me. I got to be careful how I say it on this platform, but you know that. IDF wearing those third temple patches, well, that is a clue. That is a clue. I agree with you on that, Tactical Matt Foley. That is a big clue. Trump on the 7th anniversary of the Israeli gold coin next to Cyprus about building a house and shit. Interesting. Things are getting biblical. Things are getting biblical in a hurry. And I'll tell you, there's some people saying what's happening to Iran now is prophesied in the Bible. I wouldn't doubt it because it looks apocalyptic what's happening over there right now. Nasty stuff out on the 12th. Ooh, what's going to happen out on the 12th? You mean the 12th of this month? What do we know about the 12th, guys? A surgeon has crippled my father, and we can't do a thing about it now that the law has changed. Oh, yikes. The great restructuring is underway. Just sentenced a judge to 14 life sentences. Whoa. The wall, the fence, the border story, Ragnarok. Okay, I'm beginning to get a ocular migraine here, which is like looking through a kaleidoscope, shimmering colors. It'll make it hard for me to keep up with the screen here. Kansas City, Missouri, not Kansas. Okay. Well, they're right next to each other. Okay, Kansas City, Missouri. I've been through there, passed through both of them. They had 300 mil loss. April, what are you saying? Thad 300. A lot of money. So we're talking about how much it cost. Yeah, it's very expensive. They are getting some of the intercept drones from Ukraine. Ukraine has developed a much cheaper drone for intercepting. It's a Shahed type drone. So that hopefully we'll get those in place real soon. We should have already had them. Popper is called Sky is Falling more than a few times. Well, we shall see. He's in the house, or was, so he can defend himself. But, you never know, my friends. You never know. This thing skipped on me. It skipped down. Well, look, he's not. There's other channels that are way more on that spectrum. I've always said we got hope, guys. I always say we can pray. Besides, what are you worried about? I got the worm army. I got the plan. I got a plan. Yes, the worm army. Kim Blanchard, how you doing? Alpha Omega Hyphen Maui. Wow, good for you. Hey, Greg, I bought your worms and it made my garden soil loose and productive. There we go. We got an endorsement for worms. Hey, we got New Days in the house. All right. So, yeah, I am raising worms again. All right. So, PNW Green, something tells me this year will be crazy in regards to storms and tornadoes. It just may be one of those years. We all need the wormer. Oh. Egypt, God, order, set, Egypt, God, chaos, reset. Ooh. Interesting. Is a reset like saying God is set and God sets like the devil? Interesting. Hardwood Farms, where do I get your worms? I'm not selling right now. I'm rebuilding my herd. If I can get the right kind of labor, and I'm finding some people that might be the right kind of people to stick with. If I get the right kind of labor, I will sell national. I may sell nationally again. But oh yeah, for those just joining, I've got the answer to all these things. I've got the plan. Let's see. I'll bring it back. Some of y'all just joined. I think New Days just joined, so New Days needs to see that I got this covered. I got the plan to take care of all this business. Be nothing to worry about. Thanks to my new plan. Thanks to my new plan, there's nothing to worry about any longer. Hang on, let me open this up a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to do a share on this. For those just joining to see, I got it covered. And here it is. Here it is. Dun, 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 dun. Here it is, New Days. I got it covered. I got it covered. This will stop the Chinese, the Russians. It'll stop the liberals. It'll stop the Iranians. We got it covered. Green Greg's Red State Red Worm Army. And we're going for global conquest because we've always promoted global worming. And there it is. And then when it gets really mean, when we got to get really mean, we'll just put some teeth on them wormies. Anyway, stop the share. Hope y'all like that. Worm Army. Exactly. There we go. There we go. See, I got it covered. There's nothing to worry about. I'm not living in fear, folks. Like I said, I got a plan. So fear not. Told y'all you don't need to be afraid. Don't be scared. Be prepared. But seriously, Trump administration guys just buying nuclear bunkers here in the past couple of days after the war started. Something to think about. I thought you said ringworm. No. I didn't say nothing about ringworm. Red worm. Red worm. That is great. All right, guys. We cover some serious stuff here, but you can't lose yourself. You can't lose your sense of humanity or your sense of humor, even in the worst of times. I always tell you, never panic. Don't I always tell you that? All righty, guys. So we're coming to that funny hour here that I'm going to ask you 2 questions. And you got to guess one, and then you got to wait and guess the other. So how many eggs are harvested today? Guess now. Go. How many eggs are harvested today? From my hens. How many eggs are harvested today? Dun, 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 dun. How many eggs are harvested today? What's your guys' guess? I got to check my phone to make sure. All right, keep guessing. Keep guessing. That's what I had yesterday. I had 8 yesterday, not today, though. Keep guessing. Whoa, let's see. All right. Kim Blanchard got it. Hey, we had Kim Possible in the house. Good to see you. Kim Blanchard got it. We had 7 eggs today. 7. It was 7. Kim Blanchard got it first. Kim Blanchard. 7 eggs today. One of them's highly unusual. I got a really funny egg today. Well, now, all right, stop guessing. Stop. You got 7. Don't guess no more. I got another question on a different guess number, but don't. I got to wait till the numbers quit scrolling before I ask for it. All right, looks like the numbers have quit scrolling. How many Easter eggs do we get today? How many Easter eggs? How many Easter eggs did I get today? How many Easter eggs? I have to check my phone here in a minute. How many Easter eggs do we get today? Check my email. Keep going. Keep going. Whoa, old as dirt got it. We got 2 Easter eggs today. Before I show you the Easter eggs, the old as dirt got it. It's 2. I'm going to show them to you in a minute. Before I show them to you, I'm going to take, we got 2. Old as dirt got it. Old as dirt got it. All right, guys. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, memory alert. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so I'm going to show y'all something funny. I want to show y'all something funny here. One of my eggs, one of my hens laid this egg now, by y'all. Look at this. Ginormous little egg here. Look at this, guys. This is a funny egg. Just got to show y'all this egg here. Let me pull up my screen where I can see what I'm doing here better. Tiny little egg. It's a really brown one, too. It's got a lot of speckles on it. Great speckled bird, great speckled egg. It's a tiny one. It's real tiny, really brown, and a lot of little speckles. Looks like something a blue jay would lay almost. Probably a little bigger than a blue jay egg, but I'll show you that in comparison to the other eggs. So here's the other eggs, and these 2 are the Easter eggs. Now, if I turned on the fluorescent light, they would look more blue-green than they're looking in this yellow light, got an orange light I'm shining. So there's 7 eggs together. Now, you see this one compared to these? See how little it is? These are nice big eggs. They're bigger than what a lot of times you get in the store, especially that one. Some of my Dominickers lay really big eggs. And that's probably a Dominicker egg, but given the color of it, I'd say it's probably one of my Dominickers laid that. But that is a puny little egg. I'm really curious if it's got a yolk or what it's got inside, how much. Fairy egg. Oh my gosh. We're talking fairies. Now y'all scaring me. Y'all are scaring me now talking fairies because I saw something really interesting on my webcam. Really, really, really interesting. I wonder if I can pull that out. Hang on, guys. I saw something really, really strange, not webcam, on my trail cam. Really strange, guys. Let's see if I can pull this up. Give me a minute. Ding, 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 because I think I got it on my phone. I may have downloaded it. I know it's somewhere. Ding, ding, ding. Is it going to come up or not? Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah. I may not share right. I ain't planning to share it. I may just have to pull it up and show it to you straight from my phone. Ding, 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 ding. Here it is. Ding, 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 ding. That was what blow this up. I'm going to share it this way. I ain't going to blow up the way I want it to. What is it? Maybe I just show it to the camera. Maybe it'll look good. If don't, I'll share it that way. Let me see how it looks on the screen here. Y'all see this image here? Nah, it don't show good this way. All right, let me show it this way. On this screen share. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know what we're sharing here. Is it showing what I want to share or not? I don't know. What are we saying? I'm not sure what I'm sharing. Oops, it went away. Yikes, stop share. Hang on. Went away. Pull that back up. Let's go back to it. Share screen. There we go. Let's see if we got it now. You see this thing? Fart egg. Maybe. Tinkerbell. Yeti. Well, this thing is not on the ground, it's in the air. My first thought, really, I thought it was a moth. I thought it was a moth. But look, each one of these appendages are long and rounded in. All of them are kind of same. Is this a head and two legs? Is that wings? Maybe a couple arms, maybe a tail or something? What is that? What is it? Well, it looks strange for a moth or a bug. I'm not saying it's not a bug, but it's got a glow around it. What is it? What is that? Stop the share. All right. Now, I got a lady. I think she was either my first or second mod I ever had on this channel. Coincidentally, she used to live just pretty close to me where I'm at now, not that far away. She was in the area, and she lived there until I moved out here, and then she went poof. So, spider drifting in the wind. That's what a lot of people think, spider. But it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe. Uh-oh. Whoosh. So, guys, here's the funny thing. She said, don't be surprised if you see one walking up to you. Now, this lady had told me she'd seen some strange stuff out here. So when she left a comment, I posted on Facebook, she left a comment. I called her. I said, what have you actually seen? And she said, I've seen several of those with my own eyes. And apparently, according to her, they're about the size of a person. So I've had a local here tell me they have seen those here with their own eyes, and they're big. Just relaying the message, guys. Strange stuff. What is it? But I've been told by local that she'd seen several just like that, look just like it, with her own eyes, not a camera deal. And we're big. I don't know, guys. Getting kind of doo-doo-doo-doo-doo around here. So, anyway, kind of interesting. I just wanted to share that funny little thing. So one of you said Tinkerbell in the comment with Tinkerbell, they talking about the egg. Uh-oh, you brought the topic up, and it's kind of strangely fitting right now. So maybe it is a Tinkerbell egg. I don't know. Looks like the outside of a fighter jet. Maybe it's a transformer. Hey, I don't know. Shape shifter. Who knows? There's many reports of those around here, by the way. That's another story. So, for those of you that don't know, what's that ranch? Shapeshifters, what do they call that place? Oh shoot, what's the name of that ranch? It's in Utah, I believe, or is it Nevada? It's Nevada, I guess. What's the name of that ranch that Skinwalker Ranch? And they got the TV show on. I know Travis Taylor. He's on that show. Anyway, strange stuff. Strange things all over, Greg. Well, no kidding, old as dirt. Strange things. Skinwalker. Yeah, it took me a minute, Kim. Took me a minute. Anyway, so let me check my email here real quick. See if any other donations have come in by other means. Not tonight. That's fine. So, guys, we did get a super chat tonight. I'm happy for that. So, again, I want to thank Z3N HOLE Mind, MIND. Holy Mind. We wrote on a Holy Mind or Whole Mind. I don't know if you're a whole mind or holy mind. How you meant to say the E's capitalized. So thank you for the super chat. Mods, I see y'all been doing some work tonight. So thank you, mods. And I want to thank everybody for coming in here and watching. What's on the 12th? Yeah, somebody said something about the 12th. I think it's Stan, maybe. Was it Stan Granville who said somebody said something about the 12th? I don't know. I don't know what it is on the 12th, Kim, other than it's 5 days ahead of somebody's birthday that's in the house here. Not me. So the 12th. What day of the week is the 12th? It's always this coming Thursday. It's Thursday. 12th is on Thursday, the day after my day, Woden's Day. Woden's Day, and then Thursday. I don't know, guys. Tell me. What's going to happen? I don't know. Somebody brought it up. Wasn't me. Anyway, guys, just remember, fear not, because the Worm Army is here to rescue us. So, anyway, again, I want to thank everybody for watching. Please share my videos, because this platform, YouTube, canned me, basically capped me in 2023. Because my membership was going, subscribers was going up just like this, and then it straight, boom, it stopped. It was shut off hard in 2023. And I got less views, way less everything on YouTube. Hey, Colorado Jen, good to see you in the house. So share my videos. Let's try to break through this glass ceiling that YouTube put on me. YouTube's been stomping me. They're not showing people notifications. Some of my most avid followers who want to watch everything I got, they don't even show you notifications. So make sure you bang the bell when you check. Make sure you're still subscribed. Bang the bell and click all, and then come back and check regularly, because you know I do videos. I've been trying to average about every other night for lives. Lately, I've been doing pretty close to every night, with a few exceptions. I don't expect I'll be live Wednesday night, because I have to get up at 5 and I got a meeting at 5 in the morning. So I got to get up before 5, maybe 4:30, 4:45 at the latest, to get set up for my meeting. So Wednesday nights are going to get real hard for me, because when daylight savings time kicked in, I'm not on daylight savings time. Arizona observed it. So it's almost like I'm the same time now as LA. But the company I work for shifted ahead an hour. So all my meetings are earlier. How are you? Hey. All right. So, yeah, it's good to see Colorado Jen in the house. She's been a big supporter. I appreciate her. She says been checked every month. So, salute to Colorado Jen. All righty. Again, thank everybody for being here. Thank you, mods, super chatters, and donors. I did get a chat donation in the comment section from Brian Perendi from my last video. I salute to him too. Again, thank you all for watching. And to one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you are. And in memory of Granny Lana, who we all love dearly, is no longer with us in physical form, I will say, ho, ho,